Kia ora, good evening. New Zealand's biggest cash cow, dairy, continues to change our farming landscape, with dairy cattle numbers on the rise, according to figures released by Statistics New Zealand.
Good pastoral conditions since June 2013 contributed to the rise in dairy cattle, which reached 6.7 million at the end of June this year. In the same one-year period, beef and deer numbers fell, as well as the number of sheep, which declined by 1.2 million. These provisional figures come from the 2014 Agricultural Production Survey conducted with the Ministry for Primary Industries. And the number of cattle isn't the only thing on the rise for the dairy industry, with an overall increase of 2.4% on the global dairy trade overnight, while whole milk powder prices rose 1.4%.
Statistics released by Queenstown Airport Corporation show a strong performance in the airport's passenger numbers.
Passenger numbers for Queenstown Airport were on the rise for November, with the total number of passengers moving through the airport up 17.3% on the same time last year. Domestic passenger numbers were up 15% for the month due to increased flight schedules and loadings across domestic services. Average loadings for the month were sitting at 90%, up 9% on last year. International passenger volumes also continued to grow, with a 26% increase on last year. The increase is due to 2 extra flights being added to the international schedule and a 4% increase in loadings. The strongest passenger growth came from Melbourne, with passenger numbers nearly doubling on November 2013. And visitors to Queenstown can look forward to cleaner streets and footpaths as a campaign to remove rubbish from the streets kicks off this Friday. The Queenstown Lakes District Council has set up 11 locations for businesses to leave their rubbish bags and recycling for collection twice a day. The council said the scheme would reduce the amount of rubbish left on footpaths and give visitors a better impression of central Queenstown.
A promise made by the Invercargill Mayor nearly a year ago has come together to be a reality in time for Christmas Day. On Boxing Day last year, Mayor Tim Shadbolt talked about organising a 2014 community Christmas lunch for the city's most vulnerable residents. And with the help of the community, the lunch is all set to go.
We put in a couple of adverts in the Express and in the Southland Times announcing that it was going to happen, and straight away Beaumont Meats came to the party with 2 big hams, so we thought, well, it's on the way. And then it came to the selection of who's going to go, and we decided we didn't really want that responsibility and we didn't know enough people in that category. So we just went to the various agencies, Age Concern, Presbyterian Support, and just said, you pick out who you know the local community better than we do in terms of who's alone. And it's not so much the food. I mean, you're not likely to starve in New Zealand. You can always buy a pie at the petrol station or something, but it's more the companionship and the fellowship, I guess, that you get from being with other people.
Do you think there's a real need for something like this in Invercargill?
Yes, I think there is, and probably throughout New Zealand. We are an ageing population, and so for a lot of people, Christmas just means sitting in a flat by yourself, staring at the wall. Everyone else is happy and getting presents and family and all the joys of Christmas, and your families, through no fault of your own, may have relocated to Australia, and you're just all alone. And I think we've got to start looking at community events like this on Christmas Day, just so that there's somewhere for people in that situation to go.
So we'll see something like this in years to come then?
I would like to think so. I know it's a big ask for the traditional organisations, and I can understand why the Salvation Army pulled out. It's a huge task, and I think if it goes on a more regular basis, I'm going to have to get staff here to help out, and my PA's already done a lot of work on putting this together, so it needs a full-scale committee, I think, if it's going to have a long-term future.
And so that's something you will look at next year?
Yes, it certainly is.
The price of cigarettes and loose tobacco will go up again in the new year, just in time for New Year's resolutions. From January 1st, cigarettes will go up around another 10% as another scheduled tobacco tax increase takes effect. The 2013 census shows almost 500,000 adults smoke in New Zealand. District health boards around the country are encouraging Kiwis to quit smoking for their New Year's resolution. And a New Zealand research review has shown one way to kick the habit, or at least reduce its risks, is to use electronic cigarettes. The review found 36% of smokers halved the number of smoked per day when using e-cigarettes. Researchers said while more studies need to be completed, the results of using e-cigarettes to cut back on smoking looked promising. Stay with us. Still to come on the bulletin, local readers are encouraged to escape into a novel this Christmas. Plus, we take in the Provincial Pride Art Awards. Welcome back. Keeping Southerners reading over the summer break is a big focus for the Invercargill Library, who have given the summer reading program a makeover. The program offers children, adults and teens prizes for reading participation. And after 11 years, the program is moving with the times to include electronic reads.
We have a selection of challenges. Half of them are reading based, so all about getting out and reading different genres of books, non-fiction, picture books, award winners, so just to try and get kids to read different types of books than what they'd normally read. And then the other half of our challenges are what we call create and experience challenges. So that's all about getting out and doing something with your reading. So read a recipe and then bake something with it. Or we've got make things out of Lego, using Lego models out of books, and do some word hunts and word finds, and we've got scavenger hunts both in the library and at the museum. So it's all more about getting kids to actually do something rather than just have to sit and read. So for our more reluctant readers and those that aren't confident readers, it means they're still getting that input without actually having to sit and read for a stock amount of time. So we're really trying to focus on that 6-week break you get over the holidays where kids who struggle, they don't read, and when they get back to school they've dropped 2 or 3 levels in their reading and they never get it back. They're just constantly behind the 8 ball trying to pick back up. So it's really trying to keep those kids reading.
That's what you refer to as the summer slide?
The summer slide, yeah. It's sort of big problem in most primary schools. We've currently got 570 kids registered from around Invercargill and Southland, which is going fantastically well.
You do have some incentives for them, some prizes?
I'm all about bribery. So we have, once you get to 50 points, you get a free book, which you get to choose out of my stash, and you get in the prize draw for $100 worth of Whitcoulls vouchers. At 75 points, it's the prize draw for an e-reader, and at 100 points, you get in the prize draw for an iPad mini.
Well, that's great, but it's not just for children though, is it? That you've extended who you're targeting this time round?
Yeah, so we've also, we have a teens program, so that runs for our years 9s up to 20 years of age, and this year we've added an adult summer reading bingo in as well, which is a lovely bingo card with a whole variety of books. Once again, try and get you out of your nice little narrow reading habits. And for every line you fill in on the card, you get a library voucher, and for every full card you get to go in the draw for an iPad mini as well.
Does this qualify, the e-book readers qualify as well?
Yep, one of the challenges is actually to read an e-book. But if you want to read all your books on an e-book format, then that's absolutely fine with us. Once again, we don't really care what you're reading as long as you're reading.
Titles to be reading at the moment across some of the children's books?
Our big children's books ones at the moment, Diary of a Wimpy Kid is still phenomenally huge. We have about 5 copies of every title and we can never find them on the shelf. Tom Gates is another really, really popular one, and you've still got your Percy Jackson's still a very popular series as well.
A uniquely Southland-themed exhibition is on in the city, showcasing art that takes an all-encompassing look at Southland's cultural complexity and scenic beauty. The annual Provincial Pride Art Awards is underway at Invercargill's City Gallery. The works are by members of the Southland Art Society who could enter the awards using any medium, but works must be original and exhibited for the first time. Mixed media including fine stones, leaves, pastels and collage all feature along with a strong exhibit of watercolour landscapes. Artists are asked to produce works that reflect our province and transfer their observations, experiences, thoughts and emotions through their chosen medium. The exhibition runs until the end of January. Satellite and rocket tracking, renewable energy projects and matching crops with soils, just some of the tasks tackled by Southland's Economic and Community Development Organisation, Venture Southland. Chief Executive Paul Casson reflects on the year that was.
This has been another great year for Venture Southland with regards to being out in the communities and working with our business partners to ensure that Southland is seen as a region that is growing and it is particularly growing in our numbers, population and also our visitors to the region. We've had a great year in terms of visitors numbers. We're seeing a significant increase in visitor numbers coming to Southland and Fiordland. And we've also seen a lot of domestic tourism starting to increase in terms of numbers. One of our big projects for the year was around the mountain cycle trail, and that becomes one of our prime drivers and projects for next year, working with our councils. Our councils have given us their priorities for the next year, and we'll be working closely with the councils in achieving those, which is fantastic. Our team works in the community, it works in the tourism and business sector, and we've got a growing market in our events and conference management as well. So we're already seeing increases in conference attractions for next year. We've celebrated the 10th anniversary of the Kids Zone event for Southland and Invercargill. And next year we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Burt Moreau Challenge. So there's some fantastic things that we've worked on this year and also for next year working towards. We're looking at also increasing our opportunities with regards to new business and facilitating additional research and development grants for local businesses. Our Canterbury South strategy is working well, and we hope that Southland businesses will gain some traction from that project, and that's working towards the Christchurch rebuild next year. So it's been a successful year. We can't achieve this by ourselves, and we are very, very appreciative of working closely with industry, communities and business to achieve the benefits of what we actually do within Venture Southland. I'd just like to thank obviously our councils, like to thank our community, like to thank our businesses that we work with throughout the year. I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and look forward to working with you all in 2013. So from all of us at Venture Southland, Merry Christmas, have a safe holiday, and we'll see you all again in 2015.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks for joining us at home this Wednesday. Sport follows the weather next from the news team. Good night.